Welcome back, everybody. This is the Me, Myself, and I playthrough of the game Unconditional Surrender, and we are doing the main event scenario. The game is published by GMT Games and was designed by Salvatore Vasta. In the last episode, there was a Russian disaster in Eastern Europe where they pulled a political failure and Hungary was allowed to activate because of it. So the Germans now have a pathway to move units into Romania and threaten the whole Vesta area annexation, which you will see mostly being done in this turn. We are starting the January 1941 turn with the weather phase. So we will bring up the player aid card and go ahead and roll the weather. There is no special modifiers for January and February, or March for that matter, but April will have an extra rule that we have to follow, which is you can't have the same weather in March and April. April has to be different than whatever it was in March. So for the cold zone, we roll a 3. We're looking on the card, we get poor. For the mild zone, or 4, which makes it also poor. And then for the warm zone, we roll a 5. That makes it poor as well. So, poor across the map again. And that's the weather phase. The Axis have no declarations of war. That would be counterproductive at this point. And the other two cannot because the Nazi-Soviet pact is still in play. The economy phase, I've already done the math. Just a quick review. UK is down to 14 because they have 5 lost factories, so 9 minus 5 is 4. And they have their 3 Commonwealth factories, which makes them have a total of 7 times 2 is 14. The Germans normally would have 28. They sent an extra production point to the Romanians to let them move both their infantry if they need to. And they also sent an extra one to Italy to help them with that whole sortie fix kind of stuff. So that takes care of production, and we go right on into strategic warfare. This time around, nobody has any counters to play. My submarines aren't coming back until like next summer, or this upcoming summer, 41. So it will just be a straight die roll against the Germans are +3 because of the ports and the airplanes and things. So the Germans are +3. They roll a 4 plus 3 is a 7. The Commonwealth rolls a 4. So we go double check the combat results table, and a 7 to a 4 is a DR. And in the strategic combat results down here, DR says factory loss marker down by 1 for the Germans, increase the Allied 1, which in this case which is the Western Allies. So we'll go do that on the national tracks. The British have lost as many factories as the Italians own. How wonderful. And the Germans can't go down to 0 because you always have to stay at least 1 factory in the factory lost marker. So the British are getting more and more chipped away. Come June, they will get a Lend-Lease and get at least one of their factories back. But right now they are kind of stuck until something happens, like the U.S. enters the war. So the British will be on short rations very shortly, so they probably will be doing most of their clearing sorties and things. For the strategic move, the Germans will have one. They're going to go ahead and move the 2nd Luft, the airplane, since it has full sorties. And they're just going to go ahead and move it right up into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we will go where the 3rd Panzer Army is. So we will get the 3rd Panzer on top of the strategic move marker. So I don't think I strategic moved it. The Western Allies, I really don't see a strategic move here. think maybe we'll do something similar to what the Axis just did. We're going to go ahead and take this strategic move marker and place it up here on the airplane. We're going to go ahead and move that to Plymouth. Make the Germans think about me invading someplace like Nantes or something. And the Russians don't have a strategic move, so we're done with that. We're into the operations phase for the Axis. The Axis really don't have a lot of movement here. Most everything is to the front where it belongs. They are going to be moving some things down here towards Romania. Activate the 2nd Panzer, and it will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and the national track's in the way. 10 to 34, 40. That cost me 2 production points. I'm going to activate the 10th and the 4th as well, so I'm just going to take off 2 here. Puts me down to 22, and just activate these 2 infantry units and get them moving. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 34, 36, and then the 18th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to 33, 50, 35. And then I'm going to have the 10th activate. Where's my production markers? There they are. Puts me down to 21, and he'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Down to 12, 32, 38. That's where he goes. I have more infantry coming, so I'm trying to make room for them on the front here. 17th will activate. Get that out of my way. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7. Well, I can't quite get where I wanted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, I could. If I go south, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I get into that mountain hex, which is where I wanted to be. And then we'll activate the first. Takes me down to 19. I've got to remember to move the 10s markers on the Germans. I always keep forgetting. 1. Where is he going to go? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to the Lithuanian border. And then the 6th down to 18. We'll go 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He'll just go to 26, 36 for now. I'll have to move him again next turn, it looks like. That is pretty much the German moves. I don't know if I have any garrisons that I need to move around. I'm going to go check. Oh yes, the 4th garrison. So that's another one. Down to 17. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. And then I'm going to wait till next turn when I can move the 9th out and move the 4th into Brest. So that's that there. Do I have any other garrisons? Oh, I have this garrison kind of sitting in Aachen. So he will activate, puts me down to 16. I need to spend 3. Actually, I don't think I'm going to activate him. 1, 2. 3, 6, 9, 12. 12 leaves me at 5. And I wanted to build some things, so I'm going to. Well, I don't need to. I have 3, 6. Just doing a quick count here. 3, 6 would put me at 11. And then 3 more would put me at 8. So I can move this guy. The question is where does he go? There's really no good place for him at this point. We will just go ahead and put him in Rotterdam for now. And we're going to leave the garrison in Kiel can move. So we'll move him as well. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's the one that's going to go in Rotterdam. So let's undo this move here from Aachen. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. He'll just go into that hex, and then Aachen can move into Rotterdam. Or Hamburg can move into Rotterdam. So that's pretty much it. The Swedes, I keep forgetting to do the Swedes. I need to get there. Their dude that's up in Narvik needs to get moving out of Narvik. He doesn't need to be there anymore. So he's going to come running south. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Almost to Trondheim. He'll get there next turn. If I'd have been paying attention, he'd already be in Trondheim, but I haven't been. Something that you tend to forget units that are on the fringes like that. Then we want to go check out the Italians. I don't see a lot I can do with the Italians because the British are in such a strong defensive position until I get some help from the Germans. The Germans will probably be sending some help here very soon. So we're going to go. What are we going to do? I think we're going to move the Brindisi one. So let's take a production point to do that. And he's just going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to Naples for now. And that will be the totality of the Italian move for this turn. See if I can't get a few more things in supply so I can play more supply games further on down the road. And that's that. Now I have to do my supply. The Germans will go ahead and spend a sortie on the convoy to supply the aircraft that's in Stavanger. I've got the extra points. I think I'm going to try and set that airplane to full so that I can, when I need it, I can just move it to where I need it to go. Like if the British invade or something. And now we got to do the Italians. Fun and games. They are going to try to supply the Tobruk garrison with the 2nd Fleet escorting the 2nd convoy, I think that is. Yes. So that's my supply trace to Benghazi and then across the sea. It's poor weather, so if you look at the combat results table, or combat modifiers, in poor weather, both of us would be -2, I think. There's the attacking unit in a hex or sea zone affected by poor weather. So it's poor weather in the Med. So there'd be -2. I'd be -2 with the Italians. And the British would be a net of -1 because they're +2 for British, -1 for sorties, and then -2 more for the weather. So they'd be a -1, and I'd be a -2. I think I kind of need to add some sorties to the Italian fleet to make their lives more miserable. I'm not going to have many more sorties that I can do this with, because my production points are going to keep going down here because of strategic warfare. So I'm going to go ahead and shoot my bolt here and see if I can intercept with the Med fleet. So I'm at a net -1 with the British. Let's set the die roll modifiers here. And because of the weather, the Italians are -2. So the British roll a 3 with a net -1 is a 2. And the best that the Italians can get could be a 4. 5 -2 is a 3. And a 2 attacker, wrong page. A 2 attacker to a 3 defender is a diamond. We each take a sortie. It's not up. There we go. And then the supply trace works, so the convoy unit takes a sortie, and this guy's in supply. So that helped a little bit. Now he would be in net -2, and I would be a -3. I think I'm going to try it one more time. I'm going to try to supply the Benghazi unit with this fleet here and see what the British do. The British are like, no, it's not worth it to try and stop supply of a garrison in the backwater, because it's just sorties that I don't need to take. And since the Italians would not have known that they wouldn't supply, they would have escorted, and then their convoy goes up. That's another one in full supply. We're going to go over to the convoys and just add 2, and we're going to supply the 11th. And we're going to go ahead and supply the... I'm just keeping these counters here because I'm going to end up putting back on the Italians. I'm going to go ahead and supply the Tripoli infantry. And we'll let El Algalia will stay at low supply. Do I want to try and supply him so I can try some shenanigans here? It's like it's a matter of what shenanigans you want to try to pull off. I was thinking of trying to put the 10th where the El Algalia guy is. I think I can do it on low supply next turn. We'll just wait and see. I'm going to stop there because things are all nice and even numbers, and that's the supply phase for the Axis. The West, again, I don't have a lot of production points. I could try to do this attack now because it's just going to get worse next turn. I'm going to try and push the Italians off of this ridge, and I think that maybe it's now or never. So we're going to go ahead and try it. They've been a little too lax, I think, with the British. So I'm going to spend 2. Be a +2 to a +2. And then straight die rolls after. Or I could try to do an assault to get the hex. Yeah, let's try to do this with an assault. So the British move here. They call for an assault. And then they'll spend 1 to move the 9th out of Alexandria and go 1, 2, 3, 4. Have them do an assault. These assault markers. There we go. And yeah, we'll try that. So the British start off at, we'll make the Western Desert Force the primary, so they're at +1. They get an extra +1 because of the extra unit in the assault. They're -1 because they're attacking across that ridge line. And in both cases, we're pretty much guaranteed of both players putting their tank markers in play, because that gives the best chances for both sides. So the British go up to +3, and the Italians would be at +2. So now we get to roll the dice and see what happens. The British roll. 4 + 3 is a 7. And the Italians roll. A 1 + 3, 2 is a 3. And if you look at the combat results table, a 4 + 3 is a 7. And the Italians have a 3, so they got a DR. So at least they didn't lose a step, but they did get kicked out of the space. And contrary to what other people might think, I'm actually going to take the space with the garrison unit. You might be wondering, why am I doing that? It doesn't make sense. It was an assault, so nobody can attack a second time. And by putting the garrison forward, I might lose it. But losing a garrison unit at this point is not the end of the world. I could actually rebuild it in England and then bring the BEF down here if I lose it. If I left it in 54-42 and moved the Western Desert Force forward, the Italians could have gone 1 out of zone of control to 5-4-4 or whatever, move to 5-4-4-1, maybe fly their airplane in to give them an extra +2, because what you have there is they could, if they take 5-5-4-2, with throwing in their tanks and maybe an airplane, I could throw in my tanks. Odds are I'll probably get at least retreated. It would be a mobile attack, so they would have to retreat 1 hex. And if I'm in 5-5-4-2, I can play games and move a garrison up out of Tobruk to keep myself in supply, move another garrison into Tobruk, and now the Western Desert Force is cut off from supply, so it has to fight its way out, and it can't move because it'll be in zone of control. I really don't want to see that. So I put this one forward to try and make sure that the zones of control, even if he attacks and makes this unit go away, it's a garrison, so I don't lose any willpower, and the Western Desert Force then is standing pat just outside of El Alamein. So that's the logic behind that whole attack. British are not going to do anything else. They have to do their supply. We'll go ahead and send this one up to in Port Said. That keeps these 2 units out here facing the Italians in supply. I'm not going to worry about the guy in Suez. I don't think the Italians are going to break through. Now we start seeing a German unit down here, then I might start thinking about keeping everybody in supply. But we just have to wait and see how that all goes. That pretty much, check the national tracks. Still have a point I could drop to and just clear convoys. What the heck? We're going to do this. Oh, I can't because I've got to clear 2 convoys, and I still have... There's lots of pro markers, so I'm thinking of trying to go get Spain with the British, which would make this an interesting game then. So we'll just have to wait and see. I'm going to stop where I'm at. I'm done. I'm not going to do anything else. Reset these. The Russians don't have any operations. They're pretty much sitting where they're sitting. So that takes us to no supply. No one has one of those kind of markers. Replacements for the Axis. A bunch of Italian ones, obviously. They're not going to be able to clear their fleets this turn because they want to bring their things down. And in a second here, I'm going to... And they're going to clear their airplane. So that's 9. They had 12, so they have 3 left. They really can't do anything with 3 at this point. Oh, I did it again. The sortie markers have they go round, So if you do a -2 when you have a -1, you end up at a 6. So it's always this kind of, got to pay attention, otherwise you suddenly can't use things. The turn track, the tanks markers should have gone in the next turn, because that's where they go after they get used. They're only 1 turn delay. Italians can't use the 3 for anything. It was kind of a waste because I moved this 1 unit up here, but that's in the hopes that I'll get some kind of a German infantry unit or something down here in Italy that I can try and take across to North Africa. We'll just have to wait and see how all that works out. So that's replacements. The Commonwealth can replace 6 points. So they're going to go ahead and take this thing down 2 for 3. Oh, I have other German. I'm sorry. I have German replacements. I forgot all about these. Where's my little fast tracking? I have German points to spend here. Quite a few, it looks like. I need to end up at... I'm going to go clear my 2 airplanes for 6. So it puts me down to 10. Right? And then I'm going to go ahead and spend 2 more. 1, 2. And go ahead and get the 3rd Panzer up. And I'm going to go clear my sorties on my air unit here. That can go away. And the air unit up here can go away. And now I'm done with the Germans because I have 3. And then we go into the west. They already did their convoy down here. They want to end up at 5 left. So they do their convoy, and they're going to actually go up here. And there's a convoy up here with 2 on it. I think that's it. Yes. Make sure I remove the right thing. So that goes away. So the fleet still has sorties on it, but the convoy doesn't. So that's something. And that's the end of the west. Soviets don't have any replacements. There are no upgrades. Mobilization. The Germans do have 3 points of mobilization, 1, 2, and 3, because they have a motorized unit and an infantry unit that we need to put on the board somewhere. Let's be historical. We'll mobilize them in Munich. And mobilize these guys maybe in Vienna. That's my mobilization. No one else has anything to build. We're diplomacy phase. If you look in the diplomacy cup real quick, there's 3 no events because there's 3 out. There's a total of 6. Political failure and a political success is out. So that means there's 2 political successes, and the Germans still have their pro marker in the cup. So the Germans have a 50-50 shot of getting a pro, so they'll definitely spend their 5 that they saved to take themselves down to 0. The British are going to spend 5 as well, and so will the Soviets. Everybody's going to be pulling from the cup trying to get that pro marker out there. The Soviets might decide to reload the cup if the Germans are successful. So the Germans pull a no event. Oh, the British are happy. The British pull a no event. Oh dear, the Soviets, they've got to pull because they could get Turkey. They pulled a no event. Oh my goodness, Tonto. This is going to be very interesting coming in February. The Germans will get a success. They need to hope that they actually pull like a political success rather than their pro marker, because then one of the other 2 will get a success. And if the West pulls the pro marker, then Spain won't come in, and the political success would go to the Russians. and they wouldn't really have anything to do because I would get rid of Turkey, or I could get rid of Spain and hope the other way. It's going to be a dilemma depending on what I pull with the Germans. If I pull a pro, then I have to decide where I want to fight. If I want to fight in the west or if I want to fight down in Turkey. I think I probably would go after Turkey since my army is over there. And I really don't want to have a full front in south of France. We'll just have to wait and see what that happens. But oh my goodness, everybody pulled a no event. That's a very highly unlikely thing to have happen. The Russians have not conquered, Russia West haven't conquered Germany, so it's still in the Gurn. And we go to turn track on the faction card and take stuff off in February. We get the Italian tanks back. Why does it do that? The British get their tanks back. And they also get their free forces marker, so now they have an extra +1 someplace. And then the 4th Panzer goes into the German mobilization box. I'd flip that so when I build it, it'll build out that way. And we are in February. I'm going to take a quick short break here and check my time. We will probably go ahead and go into February to see what we can see for the end of that diplomacy phase. So I went and checked. I'm over 30 minutes. I was sitting here rambling, I guess, quite a bit during that turn. And like I said, I've been trying to keep these into bite-sized chunks. So I'm going to go ahead and call this the turn. And then I will immediately go out and make up the next turn to be in a separate video. So this one will conclude here. This has been the Me, Myself, and I playthrough of the main event scenario. The game Unconditional Surrender, and this is Dren608 signing off, and we'll see you again in the next episode.